William, hopefully your favorite videographer. We are here at the Dallas Area Rapid Transit Board meeting, the agency known as DART to Dallas, Texas residents. As a service to the Dallas community, we plan to cover DART board meetings from gavel to gavel. Public comments are required to keep DART board aware of issues close to the ridership that they may not get through other resources.
It's 6:35 on Tuesday, July 7th, 2015, and the Dallas Area Rapid Transit Board of Directors meeting is called to order. First order of business is approval of the minutes of the prior meeting. Any objections, corrections, revisions to the minutes as presented? Hearing none, those minutes are entered into the record as presented. We have our Citizens Advisory Council report today. Well, oh, that would be correct. Glad you know what you're representing. Good evening.
Oh gosh, this microphone is retracting on me here. Disappearing thing. Let's see if I still want it to sleep. Keeps going down like this. Is there a way to keep it up?
There you go.
Okay, stay. Hello, I'm Phyllis Silver of the DART Citizens Advisory Committee, and I'm going to be talking about the meeting that we had on June 18th of this year. We convened earlier than usual and conducted a brief business meeting where we primarily talked about our timeline for submitting our comments about DART signage and printed material. In May, several committee members submitted their ideas on how to improve signage at DART facilities. I am impressed by the committee members' comments and their incorporation of best practices from other transit systems. This month, committee members have turned in their ideas regarding DART printed material available to riders. Our committee secretary, Kay Schecht, has volunteered to compile our responses. We are looking forward to contributing our comments and ideas to the team that will perform a communication audit at DART. This audit is scheduled to begin in the fall. After our business meeting, we traveled as a group on the light rail and the new Dallas streetcar from DART headquarters to Methodist Dallas Medical Center. At Methodist, we attended DART's public meeting on the program of interrelated projects. The purpose of these projects is to increase passenger capacity and improve access and connectivity in downtown Dallas. The three main projects addressed were, first, the red and blue light rail line platform extensions to accommodate 3 rail cars instead of the current 2 cars. Secondly, the evaluation of the alternative routes and phasing of the D2 second light rail alignment through downtown Dallas. And thirdly, a central streetcar link through downtown Dallas to connect the new Dallas streetcar to the McKinney Avenue trolley. There was good participation at this community meeting where approximately 60 members of the public attended. After the meeting, our committee boarded the D-Link back to downtown Dallas. Our next meeting will be on Thursday, July 16th at 6 p.m. in Conference Room 1C. As always, DART board members are invited to join us. Lyle Miller, DART's Senior Manager of Creative Services, will present his briefing on signage and other forms of communication at DART. We look forward to learning about his planned initiatives. Thank you.
Ms. Silver, thank you for the report and thank you for the work you do with the Citizens Advisory Board. Thank you. Our next item is public comments. We have 4 registered speakers, and I understand there may be several others. Vice Chair, please.
Good afternoon.
Public comments. General public comments will be allowed at the beginning of each dartboard meeting for a total of 30 minutes, and again at the end of the meeting when a 30-minute period does not accommodate all persons who have signed up to speak. Individuals who have addressed the board in the past 30 days will be recognized to speak during the public comment period at the end of the meeting. During the public comment period, board members may not interact with the speakers or other board members by asking questions or offering their own comments. Members of the public are reminded that their behavior during dartboard meetings is governed by the Dartboard Code of Conduct for citizens, news media, and visitors. Personal attacks, impertinent and slanderous remarks, and boisterous conduct will not be allowed. Each speaker will have 3 minutes to address the board. The green light on the podium will indicate that you can begin speaking. The yellow light indicates that you have 1 minute remaining, and the red light indicates that your time has expired. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Wilkins. Our first speaker is Ms. Gloria Williams.
Good evening.
Good evening.
I'm not going to speak. Mr. Newby is going to handle my complaints. And I will yield my time to someone else. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much. Good evening. Thank you, Mr. Newby. Our next speaker is Mr. William Dockery.
Mr. Strauss and the board, thank you. I don't normally speak except when something that really personally involved me, but it involves more than me today. Last Sunday, I put in an extra 2 hours at the radio station, which I'm affiliated with. I found out my heart is little or none, but I managed to complete the 2-hour station, which put me on a normal schedule. But I had planned for this 2-hour extra time by checking the stanchions, or whatever you call them, where we put the schedules for me to go places. The bus 26 picked me up right on time. I only had 10 minutes to wait. Let me interject something here. I found out 5 years ago I can only take 20 minutes of direct sunlight without going into heat stroke. So I measure my time in the heat. We're not even in the real heat, Texas heat yet. So I've got 10 minutes in my heat time. I arrive on time to pick up the next bus. Now the first page that you've got there in front of you is a picture I took this morning of the 409 bus schedule. I don't know if you can see if you got a copy, but I tried to highlight the 4:57 arrival time for that evening, that it promises me that a bus will arrive or depart at that time. Unfortunately, I don't know what's wrong with the schedule because no bus shows up. In fact, after I checked your computer schedules, which are printed before you as well, one south, one north, I thought maybe the north one got posted for the south one, and I have no idea what's wrong with the schedule. But I end up another 27 minutes into that heat schedule. My brain is fried. It also means I'm on my way to the deathbed. I got home, I managed 2 hours to get me home, and my partner, I slept in his bed for 2 days while he slept in his wheelchair, and I normally take care of him. So I should really title this little speech, Death by, or Murder by Misinformation. I don't know what's wrong with the schedule. From the people who have talked to me, they always complain that the bus is always late, it's never on time. So this schedule has been wrong for a while. I don't know, since this is at a medical area, I would think I would take real good attention to make sure these are correct, because people like myself cannot handle the heat, or they just came out of the Parkland Hospital and they need to stay out of the heat as well. So that's about it, gentlemen. I'm going to bring this to your attention. I assume you will take care of it, and I'll be more than happy to speak to anybody you want me to speak to after the meeting. Thank you.
Would you talk with Mr. Todd Plesko? He's got his hand up there.
All right, will do. Thank you.
Thank you very much for bringing this to our attention. Our next speaker is Gibson David.
Hello to everybody. I'm David Gibson of 6333 East Mockingbird Lane, PMB 675, Suite 147 in Dallas, 75214. I've come to inquire about your policy as it pertains to circumvention of perjury. I was issued a citation by your officer, Small number 503, and he appeared in JP Court, full dark uniform, with a schematic showing his and my positioning on the date he issued that citation. But I, for one, know that it did not happen. And two, a report from your Internal Affairs Department said it did not happen. They never said it stopped. And three, DART R11297 said the unit did make a similar maneuver that day, but approximately 8 a.m., not the 2:50 p.m. that he issued the citation. I was told by your Internal Affairs Department in no uncertain terms that as I requested a copy of the disciplinary report of his committing perjury, that they didn't have to give me anything. That court, J.P. Jones, has cost me approximately $1,000 that I won't return. Of course, the case was ultimately dismissed months later, but my money was not returned. I have every confidence that if you were to address the issue and provide a copy of the results to me, my money would be returned. With your permission and authority, I would like to return to your Internal Affairs Department for that copy, if indeed it does exist. Excuse me. Otherwise, if I'm not given instructions as to how to obtain that report before I leave here tonight, I will have to assume that perjury is an accepted practice by management at DART. Thank you for your time.
Would you speak with Deputy Chief Wallings? Right, got his hand up there.
I will.
Thank you very much for coming here.
Thank you.
Now, our next speaker is Mr. Bryce Wygard.
Good evening. I am Bryce Wygand, a member.
I apologize.
No problem at all. I am a member and the chairman of the DART Task Force at First Presbyterian Church in downtown Dallas. I am speaking from some excerpts of our minister, Joe Clifford, who has addressed this group or the committees earlier in 2009 and then again in 2012. As you all probably know, our church was founded a day after the city of Dallas was incorporated in 1856. So we've been a staunch member of the city for 159 years. We moved to the corner of Harwood and Young Street in 1912 because a trolley line at Harwood in Maine caused disruption to our services. And so ironically, 100 years later, we are back. Here we are again. While we celebrate DART coming to our part of town, the proposed Young Street alignment would be devastating to our church's ministry. It has already delayed a $14 million improvement project, which we have since now completed. We completed that in 2011. And as you probably know too, we have invested serious money in 508 Park, just across Young Street, for the renovation of the Robert Johnson facility that the Glaziers had earlier. An alignment on Young Street would severely hamper our ability to get in and out of our property. It would put a DART line 10 yards from our chapel, where a columbarium is currently in place and where services are regularly held. It will take almost a quarter of our property, including virtually all of our parking. After staying downtown for 159 years, when businesses around us abandoned downtown, it is cruel irony to face the possibility of being so severely hampered by the revitalization of the city we've served so long. I will say parenthetically that we have met with Mr. Martinez and Mr. Saline, and we have suggested another alignment on Canton Street, which would go literally back around the backside of City Hall and then back up Canton Street and then tie into Young. If this decision was only about the Young Street alignment impact on the church, the additional expense of the convention center alignment could not be justified. But a Young Street alignment is not only bad for this church, it's bad for Dallas. Cost is cited as the primary differentiation, but the Young Street alignment requires the significant acquisition of more property, which would seriously inflate projected cost. Is that my 3-minute buzzer?
For 159 years, gives you a little currency to talk longer.
Beg your pardon?
159 years gives you a bit of currency to talk longer.
Thank you very much, Mr. Strauss. Some imagine a pedestrian mall on Young Street creating urban vitality, but 4 lanes of traffic and 2 lanes of DART rail lines would be far from the pedestrian malls of the West End. Adding 2 lines of rail down the middle of 4 lanes of traffic will create a virtual wall sealing off everything south of Young Street, isolating the farmers market, condemning an already depressed area, and depriving the city of a wealth of redevelopment opportunities. Finally, as DART's presentations indicate, a Young Street alignment will so severely disrupt the only major east-west road on the south side of downtown, crippling traffic in and out and around City Hall, whereas either a convention center alignment or the alignment I described around Canton Street or down Marilla, which are both virtually abandoned streets, would help facilitate that. In conclusion, the convention center hotel alignment or the Canton Street alignment connect and enhances more existing resources, expands economic development opportunities further south, and does not hamper traffic flow. Therefore, it's a superior choice for the city of Dallas. It's also a better alternative for our church, an institution that's been faithful to this city for 159 years. I thank you very much.
We'd like to thank you for your comments and for coming down here. And you say you have spoken with Mr. Saline, Steve?
Yes, sir. This afternoon, Ernie and his team joined us a week ago, and we expressed concerns and desires in alternative routes, namely this one that goes around Canton Street, and goes between the convention center and City Hall, and then loops back around on the parking lot of the City Hall.
I was concerned earlier that we in fact had your comments on the records. You previously provided them to Mr. Saline, and you've discussed them here this evening, which is fine. If you would like to speak with Mr. Saline again, then you're welcome to do so.
I'd be happy to do that. Thank you, sir.
It's right there.
Thank you.
Thank you. And we have one further speaker, Ms. Esther McElfish.
Board members, how long am I allowed to speak? I just got here, I'm sorry. A couple of minutes, 2, 3 minutes?
3 minutes.
3, okay. The reason I'm late is the very reason I'm going to address you today, and it's because of the 400 line. I don't know if you have a map in front of you about where that runs. It goes east-west, and it's an insane route that goes all the way from Garland to Irving Convention Center, which not only stresses out the drivers, but makes it absolutely impossible to make the connections. I missed a Green Line train today. I tried 2 different routings, and it is timed so that there's no way that the drivers can make that route. People have complained, they've made comments at the hearings and the public comment periods. It's fallen on deaf ears for the last 2 years. It needs to be changed. It goes all the way from downtown Carrollton, Richardson, Dallas, Addison, Farmers Branch, Carrollton, and Irving. It's insane. It's 7 cities. And if you've ever traveled along any of those areas, you know there's going to be some construction along the way at some point. Right now it's in Addison, but that's a heavily trafficked area. They have frequent stops. There's often lifts. If they have a lift, it totally throws them off. Somebody obviously rode that bus on a Sunday to do the timing. When you take the bus, as I was taking today out of Addison, trying to go to the downtown Carrollton location, it allows a 3-minute time from the arrival at the downtown Carrollton station until the Green Line Buckner leaves. Sorry, I'm out of breath from running up here. So you can't make it. And today the driver was running late, so I missed the next one. So he was 2 minutes late getting there. So they really need to split the route. And that's my recommendation, and the recommendation of everybody that rides that, and the drivers. I've talked to so many of them, and they're very frustrated. All of them do a good job. They try their very best, but it is absolutely impossible to stay on time, on schedule. It always runs 5-10 minutes late, especially in the rush hours. Weekends, not so much, but it's a different ballgame on the weekends. The recommendation that everybody wants you to be aware of is split that route from Garland to the Addison Transit Center, make that a separate route, A, and then a separate route, B, from the Addison Transit Center to Irving Convention Center. It would make much more sense. Have you all seen that? Is anybody familiar with that route? Hello? I highly urge you to go ride it.
And there's a fellow here who is extremely familiar with that.
Mr. Smith?
No.
Okay.
Mr. Plesko.
Okay.
And he...
I understood Mr. Smith might be here today, sir.
Well, he was here earlier, but Mr. Smith, Todd Plesko can very well address your issues and look into them.
Okay. I know I'm out of time, but I do want to say a compliment. And so you want me to speak with him?
I think you'll find him very helpful.
Well, I hope so. Thank you. And the compliment is, I greatly appreciate the senior pass. It is so wonderful to be able to go anywhere. This is one of the bennies of getting to this age. But I like being able to go anywhere on the system for $2.50, as in coming from Addison today and round trip, you couldn't even start your car for that. So greatly appreciate that. I also would like to recommend, and I know I'm over my time, but I want to recommend something in terms of increasing ridership, having some Rider 101 days. I try and encourage friends and colleagues to ride DART. They're a little bit intimidated about it. Once you get the system down, as you know, it's a no-brainer. But when you first are trying to work it out, I think having some Rider 101 days, like on a Saturday or whenever, especially during the summer months now, to help orient new riders to the system would be something that would be very beneficial, just to kind of help people learn how the system works.
Thank you very much for your
now I'm out of breath, and thank you very much.
Well, why don't you walk slowly over there?
I'm not that senior, okay. Thank you all, and thank you for your service in DART. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Have a good day.
That completes the public speakers. We have several items which we have to act on. The first, Mr. Adams, comes from your...
Yes, Mr. Chairman, thank you. Item number 4 is approval of contract option for comprehensive fare payment system mobile ticketing application. It's been unanimously approved by the committee and by the committee of the whole, and I move its adoption.
That motion made and seconded. All those in favor signify so by saying yes. Yes. Those opposed, please say no. That motion carries. Who's the vice chair?
Gonzalez is vice chair.
Mr. Adams, would you take items 5, 6, and 7?
Yes, Mr. Chair, if there's no objection, I'll make one motion for all three of them. Item 5 is contract award for light rail vehicle and streetcar cleaning service. 6 is contract award for light rail vehicle public address interface devices. And 7 is contract award for janitorial services and operating facilities. All were unanimously approved by the Operations Committee and by the Committee of the Whole, and I move their adoption.
Second.
That motion made and seconded. All those in favor signify so by saying yes.
Yes.
All those opposed? That motion carries. Mr. Slagle, would you take item 8?
Yes, Mr. Chairman. Item number 8 is approval of contract extension and funding increase for off-site record storage. This came through the Administrative Committee and was approved also by the Committee of the Whole, and I would move approval of this item.
That motion made and seconded. All those in favor, please signify so by saying yes. Yes. All those opposed, please say no. The motion carries. We have no further business. What? I didn't do, somebody didn't do 9? Who didn't do 9? They didn't do 9. Why didn't you do 9?
Okay, I will do number 9 now. Number 9 is for the funding for a compensation agreement between the City of Plano and DART to share costs for the relocation of DART's controlled instrumentation housing located at 15th Street in Plano, Texas. This item was discussed in committee, also in Committee of the Whole, and it was approved unanimously, and I move approval.
Second.
That motion made and seconded. All those in favor signify so by saying yes.
Yes.
Those opposed, please say no. The motion carries. There's no number 10. So we're going to, and there are no other public comments. So we're going to adjourn the meeting. This meeting is adjourned. Thank you all for coming.
This is William, hopefully your favorite videographer. We love comments. If you don't like the way DART is handling things, lay it out for everyone to see. If you like or hate this video, tell us. If you'd like to see more videos like this one, tell us. We even love it when you call. Better yet, like or follow us on Facebook or subscribe to us on YouTube and get instant notices of all our videos the moment they are posted.